Hello everybody, I'm going to give a garden tour of my garden here in San Diego, Zone 11A. So I'm not right on the ocean, I'm probably just a couple miles inland from the ocean, but still very much marine influence all year. Every morning starts off with the fog, and some days the sun doesn't fully come out. So the peculiarities of this region is that frost isn't an issue, or temperatures near frost, they don't happen, but it's not quite as warm here as other places during the summer and the spring. So there are certain plants, like for example mangoes, that they prefer that once you get to spring, they expect the temperatures to rise. And here that doesn't quite happen, right? It doesn't really happen until late summer, and that's kind of late in the season for a mango, for example. And so that's kind of like a peculiarity of this region, and some of the issues that we have here arise from that. So in my garden, I grow all kinds of tropical plants. So I do subtropicals, avocados, mangoes, lychees. I do tropicals like, well, I'm not sure exactly what's considered tropical, but I'm thinking wax jambu, coconuts, maybe coffee. And then I do some warm temperate plants they have a very little need for chill hours. I'm thinking peach, Anna apple, fig, stuff like that. Just about everything in my garden is under 2 years old. And so everything you see here in front of you, the fruit, they've all started from nothing. So you can see when you water right and you fertilize a good amount, you can see how fast a lot of these plants can grow. Or maybe you'll see how slow some of them grow, like the lychee, for example. Okay, I thought I'd start with the front yard. We can start with everything I have up here. I can give you some tidbits about like what it's like growing these in more coastal Southern California, not just San Diego. And okay, let's begin. So this first one here is a canistel. So I would say it grows pretty well here, no issues, other than the fact that it seems to really like fertilizer. I'm not sure exactly which part of it is. I think it's the K, the potassium, but I'm not exactly sure. But once fertilized, it really greened up. And so it's been here for about 2 years. No, a year and a half. And it's grown quite a bit because I buy them all as little sticks. So it's grown quite a good amount. And it wants to fruit prolifically, but I don't let it. Oh, by the way, this is a Bruce canistel. And so it wants to fruit prolifically, but I don't allow it to. It does tons and tons of flowers, and I constantly pull them off because I want to give it another year maybe until I let it set fruit. These plants that are more from like the Caribbean region, so I'm thinking this plant, the black sapote, they grow great here, but they don't grow quite as fast during the growing season because they have expectation that it should be warmer than it really is. And so I imagine the fruit won't ripen right until it gets kind of like that root strength down there of a more mature tree. That's what I'm going to wait for until I let it, set fruit. I have millions of papayas, all kinds, Brazilian, Hawaiian, Mexican. I couldn't tell you which one's which, but I have them all over the place. I love papayas. I like them green. I like them ripe. So I have them all over the place. They grow great here. No issues. They get a little bit uglier during the winter after like a storm. They don't like to sit in cold water. But one way I have combated that is by elevating them. So you plant them in soil that's elevated above like ground level. And so they don't sit in water, and then they look perfect all year. Okay. Behind the papayas, I have white sapote trees. I have 2 of them, one right there and one right there. One is a Subel and one is a Vernon. I can't tell the difference in taste. They seem to flower just about all year. They ripen faster on hot days, but they seem to be like an all-year plant, so they're really good. They're very tasty, very sweet, very custardy. I have more papayas. One there. Okay, I'll move around. So here I have another papaya. And then here is my lychee. Lychees are not like the canistel at all. The lychee hates fertilizer. The lychee likes to just sit and mulch. These perfect new leaves are very uncommon, and this hasn't happened for me often. I would say it's doing that because I've refrained from using any chemical fertilizer or any organic fertilizer, just mulch. And they grow very slow. This has been here I planted the exact same time I planted the canistel, for reference. Okay, and they grow all year. Winter, summer, there's no difference to them. This is another papaya. I have 2 avocados, one there and one here. This one is a lamb Hass, I believe. Although I'm not sure because the tag says Hass on it, so I'm not really sure. But this one is very good at setting fruit. I don't let it because it's more new. And that one, the surprise avocado, is huge and massive, and it's a little older than this one. That one's 2 years old, and it's never set fruit for me. These 2 in the middle are are mangoes. They're Manila seedling mangoes. The mangoes that aren't, I think there's different races of mangoes, just like avocados. And this race is much more adapted to California climate. They don't need extreme heat to do leaf flushes. So they're fantastic in that regard. Okay, I'll move more into the front yard. You can get a better look of the white sapotes, the canistel. This here is an ice cream bean. Again, just 2 years old, and it's massive and it's loaded with fruit. They're very tasty in that they're very simple. They taste exactly like a persimmon. That's exactly how they taste. See, these ones aren't ready yet. They're very thin, but as they fatten up, let me find one there maybe. That's when they're more closer to ready. And they really just taste like a persimmon. Not much flavor, but very sweet. And they're sweet even before they're finished. So at any point, you just pick them off, they taste very sweet and edible. Okay. Here is my biggest pineapple. I have tons of pineapples, but my biggest one, I don't know the variety. I just got it from Home Depot, I believe. So I have no idea what it is. They grow all year, but grow very slowly. I hope it flowers next year. These are, more papayas. This is a seedling mango. I think it's from Ataulfo. That's like really the only kind I eat. So I throw a lot of those seeds in the ground. Bananas. I have no idea what kind it is. They all taste the same to me. These are blueberries. They look a lot better during the winter. I'm not really sure why. But they seem to fruit just about all year, but obviously heaviest in the spring. This is like an area where I have lots of seedlings. I just throw lots of seeds in the ground and see what pops up. I think it's a cherimoya. I think it's a lychee in there. I transplanted these here. Papayas hate being transplanted, but nothing can kill them. So even though they hate it, they'll drop their leaves, they'll come right back. And this is proof right here. Even during the winter and even in full shade, they don't care. Okay, I'll come around now. You can get a better look at these guys from the front. That's my lychee. This is like 2 years of growth, so yeah, not much. These are the mangoes. They have grown dramatically this last summer. They really acclimated. There's that massive avocado. Never fruited for me. Surprise avocado. I don't know if it's just a bad variety for fruiting, but I really hope it sets fruit this year. I mean, it's so big. What would be its excuse this year, huh? Okay. Here I have a rose apple. It's being suffocated by this tomato, but it's a rose apple. I've only had it for about a year, but it just grows constantly. It's really bushy and it has never flowered for me. So I really hope it does next year. Okay. And then there's one more papaya there. Here's my Sabara jabuticaba. It's never fruited for me, but it's getting larger and larger, and it's in a pot. So I hope it does eventually, but this kind makes you wait a long time. But they're very tasty, so I'm waiting. And here will be my backyard. So unlike the front, it's a lot more protected. There's no wind in here. It's very enclosed. There's walls on both sides, heavily plants everywhere. And on the coldest winter nights, it's less cold than here. And on the hottest days, the humidity in here really keeps the temperature down. So it's very much a microclimate. I have some of my more sensitive plants in here. And then of course behind me, I have my most sensitive plants. I have my jackfruits, my mamey sapote, my coconuts. So I'll start with the south-facing side. This is the side that gets sun every single day of the year, but it's still protected on both sides. This is my most favorite plant, I would say. This is my wax bamboo. It does very well here. I would say it has no issues at all. It wants to fruit every year. I've never let it. The first year it grew much slower, but this last summer it went from like here to all the way up here. So it grew quite a bit. It really acclimated, I would say, this last summer. And it was a very humid summer, so maybe it liked that. So the papaya, you can really see the vigor of a papaya because the snails really tried to kill it. It took off all its leaves like constantly, and it just fought back and, you know, did all this. It was probably like this tall at the end of winter, and so very vigorous plant. Nothing can kill them. Just various things I have down here. Bromeliads, gingers, pineapples. Behind the wax bamboo, you can see there's a Suriname cherry. It's a black Suriname cherry. There's some little fruits. Look closely. Yeah, it gave me its first fruit last spring, and now it's giving me my second batch. It looks like there's like maybe like 5 on it, so that's pretty exciting. Papaya. This is a black sapote. It does very well, but I think one issue with this one, maybe it's because I fertilize it too much with fish emulsion, is it is flowering and trying to set fruit every single day of the year, and it seems to really impede its growth when it has flowers. So whenever I remove the flowers, which happens like once a month, it like flushes like crazy new leaves, and so it's like a constant effort. Very strange. I think it's just a reaction to fertilizer, but it likes the fertilizer, so just something I'm playing around with. But I'm not gonna let it set any more fruit until it gets like maybe like up here, because it's from that Caribbean region I was talking about, where like the fruit, it sets them and they'll sit there for a long time because we don't get that extreme heat here that they get in like the Caribbean region. So otherwise it grows fantastic, but I think it has an expectation of like maybe high UV or extreme heat that we just don't have to ripen its fruits. And so I want to wait till it's bigger and has more vigor before I'm letting it give me all these fruits. This is another pineapple seedling. I just threw that tofo in the ground, and there it is. Maybe like a year old. You can see it's like maybe 4 feet tall. This is a Ruby Supreme guava. They grow very fast and very vigorous, and it's covered in fruit, although it looks like someone took some bites out of the biggest one. Wow, that's rude. Okay, that happened last night. Yeah, this one has never fruited for me, but it's only, I planted it last year. It was like that tall. So you can just see how fast they grow. Very vigorous, very strong. Here is another pineapple, papaya. It's 2-headed. I let it give me 2 heads. Papayas sometimes choose to branch out, and if you let them, they'll form multiple heads. Back here is more shade lovers. So here is a coffee plant, Arabica, and it didn't fruit for me last year. It fruited for me the prior year, but this year it's fruiting very heavily. So it already did kind of most of its flowers. They're very beautiful, and now you can look closely and see little baby fruits, and they take forever to ripen. So I'm probably not going to eat those fruits until next year. This is a loose Garcinia. This is one of my favorites. Very special. Not many people have it, and it goes really well here. I don't know why. I think it's just either it's tough or it just likes it here. This is maybe like 60-70% shade. It changes as I cut down the plants, but very shaded. Definitely a lot of direct sun though every day, a little bit. Okay, and then here is a cherimoya tree, my biggest one. Very tall plant, very vigorous. It is self-fertile, I would say. Like it self-fruits, but it does a lot better when you help it. And it's flowering right now. And I would say out of all the plants that I have, I would say this and maybe avocado are probably the most adapted to our climate. These high elevation tropicals, you know, they really like it here. They like the cool, foggy mornings and the summers that don't get so hot. They love that. Okay. Now I'll flip over now. Now this is the north facing side, so I don't have things here that I love. I have things that are more temperate or Mediterranean that can take some shade. This is a pomegranate. I don't remember the variety. I wasn't paying attention. All the big ones are gone. I already harvested them. And I watered a ton, and it doesn't seem to cause any issues. So this is an Asian pear. It finally reached the sun this year, and so next year I'm going to let it give me 1 fruit. This is an Anna apple. It gets attacked by bugs a ton and is not able to resist as much because it's in full shade. But what's very special about this variety is that it's one of those 0 chill hour requiring like temperate plants. So I see them growing in like Hawaii, for example. And so it flowers for me like every winter. I only have it for 2 winters, but that's great because that's sometimes an issue with the temperate plants is they don't want to flower. This is a plum tree and it has some disease. It looks very vigorous, right? It's only been there for 2 years, so it's strong. It's just it got some disease. I'm gonna spray it next spring so it doesn't get diseased. Okay, now here is one of the side yards. Okay, I have some gingers. They love that it's not very sunny back here. I have another mango tree. A seedling, I think it's not the full seedling. I don't remember. Another papaya. These ones are really fat, I think, because it's a Mexican papaya. But unfortunately, the Mexican papayas don't taste very good. So it's all this flesh, but they're very musky. So, not the tastiest. I eat these more green, but then how do you eat all of it? It's so massive. So, this is a persimmon. My persimmon's not happy. I think maybe I overwater it. I don't know if it's doing this because it's fall or just because it's unhappy with my treatment. I don't know. But it hasn't done well for me and it did not flower. This is a cherimoya seedling. I have lots of these. I love cherimoyas. This one behind it is a Babcock peach. It's massive and only 1.5 years old. It flowers for me every year, and so I only have 1 year, one spring season, but flower for me very well. So I think it has a very low chill hour requirement, which is very nice. This is a cherry tree. I can't remember, but it's a variety with the lowest chill hour requirement, and it still didn't flower for me, but it's pretty. So maybe if there's like a particularly freezing winter, not literally freezing, but cold, then maybe that will be the year that it gives me its first cherry. This is a mango that I transplanted here. Oh, there's a spider. And it's not happy about its treatment. This is a jujube, a Lee jujube, maybe Ling, I can't remember. But I think it's doing that because it's fall, or maybe it's unhappy, but it gave me a ton of fruit, which is great. Another cherimoya seedling, and another pear variety. Okay, thank you for coming along with me. I have a lot more plants I haven't showed you, but I'll show them in later videos. For example, my coconut, it's probably like right on par with the Inga in my biggest tree. So believe it or not, like it's not super adapted to our climate, but the one I have, at least I have 3, but one of the 3, it's very vigorous. And so it's probably, I don't even know, like 15 or 16 feet tall, huge trunk. It's rough, or tough, I guess. I'll show you guys that in a later video. Okay, bye everybody.